What is up, everybody? This is Adam. Welcome back to Fouled Out. Matt is going to be joining me in just a moment to talk about our power rankings after 4 weeks of NFL football. We are going to talk about who we think the 5 best teams and the 5 worst teams in the NFL are. I think there's going to be some healthy debate on this episode because this exercise is actually a lot harder than you might think it is. I went through and did power rankings for the entire NFL, and I'm excited to go over some surprising teams I think I have in both categories. But before we get started, I promised we would talk a little bit of playoff baseball at the top of this podcast. And, it's October 1st. We just had game 1 of Red Sox Yankees. We're almost through game 2 right now. It is tied 3-3 in the 6th inning. So if you hear some expletives or random shouting during this podcast, you'll know what's going on. But man, what a win for the Red Sox in game 1. Garrett Crochet absolutely dominant and then handed the ball to Aroldis Chapman, who got my blood pressure up, got me pretty excited. Had a hard time falling asleep last night after the Yankees pull off a noble tiger to lose game 1 to the Red Sox in horribly embarrassing fashion. My overall takeaway from this series, even before game 1 started yesterday, is the Yankees have to win this series. You cannot lose to the Red Sox again. After last night, the Red Sox have now won 9 out of the last 10 playoff games against the Yankees, dating back to the 2004 ALCS, where the Red Sox became the first and only baseball team ever to come back from being down 0-3 to win a series. That's right. It happened. So not only have they owned the Yankees over the years, but I look at this Red Sox team and the lineup that they are rolling out in this wild card series and think, if the Yankees cannot beat this version of the Red Sox, they may never beat the Red Sox in the playoffs again. I mean, no offense, because I have really grown to love this team. I've talked about them a lot on this podcast, but this lineup is not good, right? Like, we're playing Nate Eaton and Nick Sogard, who, like, $20 to anybody that could have told me who those guys were before the season started, or the majority of you who aren't Sox fans, if you could tell me who those guys are now, let me know. We'll send you a fouled out hat. Romy Gonzalez is batting 4th. Like, even the best players in this lineup right now are not that great. Like, Trevor Story and Alex Bregman statistically are not like the 2 best hitters in any lineup in the playoffs other than the Boston Red Sox. So it's not a super talented lineup, but what it is a team that is much better than the sum of its parts. Like, the whole is much better than the sum of its parts, because what they did yesterday is they outfielded the Yankees, they out-hustled the Yankees, they out-coached the Yankees, and they out-pitched the Yankees. They're not going to outslug the Yankees. This is not that type of team anymore. But you know what it is? It's a bunch of dirt dogs. It's a bunch of guys who work hard. It was really exemplified with Nick Sogard taking 2 bases on what was a single to Aaron Judge, and then pinch hitting Yoshida and bringing those 2 runs in, and then the Red Sox just being able to hold on to that lead. But if I'm a Yankees fan, it is driving me absolutely insane that we are on the verge of being eliminated by this Red Sox team. And we'll see what happens the rest of tonight and then tomorrow if they play tomorrow. But like, a game 3 tomorrow is just another example of like the Red Sox not having as talented of a roster as the Yankees, because we threw out Crochet, our best pitcher, and, possibly the best pitcher in the league, right up there with Tariq Skubal yesterday. And he won the game he had to win. We're pitching Bayo tonight, who's good. Not ace level, but he's a good pitcher. But we already don't know who we would pitch tomorrow. Like, it might be a rookie, Connor Early, who they called up in September, pitching an elimination game in Yankee Stadium tomorrow, followed by like a bullpen game. Like, we already don't know who the third starter is going to be in this series. And the Yankees have, a shitload of money invested in their starting pitching. So really, I mean, to me, a series the Yankees absolutely have to win. I don't know how you look at yourself in the mirror and don't make some massive changes if the Red Sox do end up winning this game tonight. And honestly, kind of have a feeling the Red Sox are going to end up winning this game tonight, because they were already down 2-0. Trevor Story Trevor Story knocks in 2 with the bases loaded. Then they go down 3-2 and Trevor Story hits a home run to pull it 3-3. Like, it does kind of feel like the Red Sox have this like je ne sais quoi going, like, that certain something right now. And sometimes, like, we saw it in 2004, a bunch of idiots just get hot in the playoffs, and that's all it really takes. So, I've really grown to love this team, though. I miss Roman Anthony horribly, and I hope he can come back ASAP. But last night really reminded me of the pre 2004 Red Sox Yankees rivalry, where the Yankees have all of these stars. They have Aaron Judge. He's the greatest slugger that we've ever seen. And he's had 450 homer seasons, and only Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and blah, 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 blah. And they have all these great players and all this talent. And the Red Sox are throwing out like Sogard and Eaton. And like really felt like we were back to that underdog status that we used to have. Although like that 2004 team that turned the tides had Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz, one of the greatest slugging duos of all time, not to mention Pedro Martinez, one of the best pitchers, not only in Boston history, but in Red Sox history. But it really felt to me like we were the underdogs again. And we were the team that was going to stick it to the Yankees because they were overlooking us and kind of treating us like less than. And I think you saw that with Aaron Boone pulling Max Fried early in that game yesterday. I mean, I know Max Fried was fading and he had thrown about 100 pitches, and that was probably going to be about it for him. But the broadcast team, the ESPN broadcast team, actually had the salient point. This is like one of the very few times I will compliment the ESPN team, even though they had the point completely backwards. They said that Aaron Boone and the Yankees were managing that game to try to win a World Series, and the Red Sox were trying to manage to win that game. And I think you really saw that yesterday, because the Yankees were like, okay, we're going to pull Fried and we're going to go to a bullpen that's been extremely shaky in the playoffs, because we're planning on getting Fried to start at least 7 more games for us. Like, he has to pitch all the way to the World Series. We can't run him out here. And the Red Sox said, fuck that. We're winning this game right now. We're pitching Crochet until his arm explodes, and then we are having him hand the ball to Aroldis Chapman. Nobody is touching the ball besides our 2 best players today. We don't care. Like, Crochet, new career high in pitches. They brought Chapman in the 8th to get a 4-out save, which is only the second time they've done that this entire season. And like, that's the type of attitude you're going to have to win this series and to win additional series. Like, the Yankees cannot just be looking ahead of everybody and being like, oh, well, we're better than everybody anyway. We're just going to walk to the finals again like we did last year when the entire playoff field was complete shit, and then embarrass ourselves and poop our pants against the Dodgers in the World Series. The Red Sox are not going to let you do that, because, again, this is a team of dirt dogs. This is a team of guys who are playing like their lives depend on it right now, with like Sogard and Eaton and like all these dudes that I named who aren't as talented as the guys on the Yankees, but they're going to do what it takes to get the job done. And Cora's like, I don't care about winning a World Series, because we're not winning a World Series unless we win this game tonight. And, being tied in the 6th, I'm not going to be surprised if they pull out all the stops here to try to win this game too, because it's like, hey, it is right in front of us right now. Winning this series, eliminating this Yankees team for the 4th straight time that these teams have matched up. It's right there right now. Pull out all the stops. We're not going to bullshit like Aaron Boone does. We're not thinking ahead. We're thinking we're taking this team down now and not worrying about tomorrow. And I loved it, man. I really thought, like, this season, this team has really overachieved. And I'm proud of them for overachieving. I did not think they would get this far, especially after like the Devers trade and Roman's injury and all that stuff. But they just keep overachieving. And one of the reasons they do that is because they just play their hearts out, man. And anybody that knows me knows my favorite baseball player of all time is Dustin Pedroia. And the reason I loved him so much is just because that's how he attacked every single game his whole career. Like, it was his last one, and he was just going to play his ass off. And it won him an MVP, and he won a World Series, and, he'll always be my favorite, always. So this Red Sox team brought back a lot of those emotions for me. I know nobody wants to hear this. It's a lot of crocodile tears, but it hasn't been super fun to be a Boston sports fan over the last however many years since Tom Brady left, and the Patriots have sucked, and the Red Sox have not been good. They haven't made the playoffs since 2021. I know nobody cares because of all the championships we have, but I was a bit apathetic to my hometown teams over the last couple of years, and I followed them and just said like, yeah, they're not very good, so we'll just follow them and hopefully the guys develop. And between the Patriots' first 4 games of this season and then now this series against the Yankees, it has really like reignited that hometown Boston love for me. So if you hear me being more of a masshole on the podcast, that's why. And I know I never lived in Boston in my life, and I'm saying hometown, but those are my favorite teams, and that's where they're located. Okay, cut me some slack. I'm really excited. I'm just super excited about Drake May and how great he is becoming in front of our eyes, and then the Red Sox and their chance to potentially eliminate the Yankees. Although I don't know if it'll happen. I feel like it will. We'll see. You guys will know more than I will when you listen to this podcast, but I'll be watching the game throughout. I would love to just sit here and talk baseball and get into, the Tiger series and some of the stuff that's going on in the NL, but we do have a full football podcast to record. So I am going to force myself to talk football now. Just a reminder, before I get started, you can reach out to us, fouledoutsports@gmail.com. Hit us up, have some awesome sports conversations with us. Really appreciate you guys listening and watching now on YouTube. If you're watching the video version of this podcast, and you can see how excited I am about the Boston teams. But for now, let's grab Matt. Let's talk football. Let's go. All right, Matt is here, ready to rank some NFL teams, technically a quarter of the way through the season. Mm-hmm. When we used to play 16 games, 4 games really was the quarter mark, and now it's like, oh, play 17, but it's 18 weeks. So it's the quarter mark enough for us to power rank all of the teams in the league and then go over who our top 5 and who our bottom 5 are. Again, just a reminder, I have Red Sox Yankees on in my office here where I'm recording. So if I seem distracted during the podcast, that is why. Matt, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Yeah. Third takes the charm, right? So.
Yeah, it's been the pre-show meeting went off the rails a little bit and leaked into the first couple of takes, but I think that we're good keeping this one. So like I've said multiple times now, Matt and I have both gone through and power ranked the entire NFL. We're going to go over who we think the top 5 and the bottom 5 teams are. I guess before we get started, I expected this exercise to be easy, to say these are who the top 5 teams are and these are who the 5 worst teams are in the NFL. And it turned out to be a lot more difficult than I expected. I mean, for me, especially the 5 spots in both lists, but I know you had a little bit of trouble with like the 4 spot as well. Just for anybody who's like, oh, I can tell you who the 5 best teams are right now, really go through and do the exercise. It is more difficult than you think. But we're going to go 5-1 in both lists. We're going to start with who we think the 5 best teams in the NFL are. So Matt, you can give me your 5th team, and we'll kind of go back and forth and talk about where we agree and disagree.
Yeah. So I'll kick us off with the LA Rams. They definitely have some warts, but for all the concern about Matthew Stafford heading into this season, he has made some of the most ridiculous throws of his entire career in these first 4 games. Like, Puka Nacua is completely unstoppable. I wasn't sure exactly how much we were going to see Devontae Adams having left in the tank. He looks great. Like, no notes there. And then you go to the other side of the ball. That defensive line is doing exactly what we expected it to do this year. And I just think all of that adds up to more than everyone that I didn't put on my list can consistently throw out there. And all of that translates into every single game. Like, not a lot of teams, if any, can take those things away. A lot gets made about the Rams secondary, which I don't entirely disagree with, but I don't know. I just feel like even that secondary group, like they're kind of scrappy. They're not the they're not good, but like I feel like they punch above their weight class.
Yeah. I have the Rams at number 3.
Okay.
Actually, they are 3rd in DVOA, 8th in net EPA per play, and PFF actually had them as the number 1 graded team in the NFL right now. I think you're right. Stafford has been incredible through 4 weeks. Puka Nacua, I think if we were going to rank wide receivers right now, would be the number 1 wide receiver in the league.
Yeah,
possibly.
I mean, especially if we're only going based off of performance this year, right? Like,
yeah,
you can certainly get
catches
into the weeds on like ranking players, but you can't argue anyone has played better at that position this year.
Yeah, 42 catches for 503 yards. My only really big concern with the Rams right now, I mean, I guess 2 things. One is the same thing I've been saying for months is if Stafford's healthy, that they're a Super Bowl contender. Yep. I think they've showed that early, but how many games is Stafford playing?
Yeah.
So far, there's been no reason to think that it's not going to be the majority of the season, but we just have seen this with Stafford from time to time where it's like the season goes on, he gets beat up, he's getting older.
Yeah.
The other one is that the run game, I think with Kyren Williams, has not really been what it has been the last couple of years. We've seen them working in Blake Corum a lot more, but I would like to see them run the ball a little bit better, although I'm nitpicking. Devontae Adams has been great for them, but I feel like Stafford and Devontae are still kind of working on their chemistry. So I say all that to say that I think there's still more ceiling to explore for this offense where like they really work in Adams, they get the run game going, like it can get even better. My number 5 team, and this was the spot I had the hardest time with in the entire list. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars as the 5th best team in the NFL right now. 7th in DVOA, 7th in net EPA per play, and 10th in PFF's grading system. My real debate here was between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts. And for those who haven't really been paying attention to Jacksonville, they are currently number 4 in defensive EPA per play against and number 1 in turnover margin. They have 13 takeaways in 4 games so far this season. And I look at Jacksonville being good on defense right now and the Colts offense being number 3 in EPA per play with Daniel Jones as their quarterback. And I'm projecting out into the future a little bit and saying that Jacksonville's defense being good is more sustainable than Daniel Jones running this Colts offense. I know we do this every week where we're like, when are we going to admit the Colts are good? I had the Colts 6 in my power rankings just outside of the list, but I don't know, man. The Colts, like, I feel like we would think about them really differently if it wasn't for that leverage call on the field goal against Denver. Like Denver wins that game. The Colts are 2-2 and it's like, okay, great. Daniel Jones is a cute story, but they can't beat good teams. And I just worry we saw some cracks in the armor against the Rams this week with Daniel Jones throwing 2 interceptions and then Matt Stafford just throwing absolutely all over that Colts secondary. So we'll find out about the Jacksonville Jags because their next 3 games are Kansas City, Seattle, and the LA Rams. Not an easy schedule for them.
And like that's kind of where I'm at with the Jags is like
we'll see. I mean, the Colts have a really good scoring margin, but they kind of beat up on Miami and Tennessee to start the season. So I'm a little lukewarm on the Colts. So I gave this spot to the Jags just because I think what they're doing is more sustainable.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I'm in more of a wait and see place with the Jags is that I look at who they've played, and really none of those were teams that I was high on coming into this year anyways. Um, so, uh, and one of those teams, imploding physically, certainly doesn't make their road to this point any more difficult. So, but like credit where credit's due, they played the teams that they had and they did what you're supposed to do against those teams.
Yeah.
You know, I think we're going to learn a lot about this team over the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, we could easily be doing this at the midseason poll and saying the Jags are now 4-4 after starting 3-1.
Yeah.
After how tough this next stretch for them is going to be. But who is your number 4 best team in the league?
I'm going to the Tampa Bay Bucks. I feel like if they don't shoot themselves in the foot in that Eagles game, they could be 4-0. They've got a good offensive line. Their receiving core, while dinged up right now, like it's going to get more healthy. Mike Evans will be back, and then you're eventually going to have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Emeka Egbuka all out on the field at once. Bucky Irving, like that. Do I need to say more than that? And the defense is a good defense.
I am actually a lot cooler on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers than you are.
Mm-hmm.
I rank them 12th in my power rankings. The advanced stats fucking hate the Buccaneers. Like, hate them. They are 18th in DVOA and 20th in net EPA per play.
To be fair, though, this is now the first week that DVOA is even to solely pull from this season. So even one game can really skew those numbers. So, it's too early in the season for me to be like, yeah, like DVOA, EPA, like that stuff is really like worth its salt yet. Like week 7, week 8, like, okay, yeah, I'm in on that. But like, I think we need more games because like one week and a 4-week sample size can absolutely like that's 25% difference, right? So like that can really skew it.
Yeah, it's fair, but I look at those numbers and I look at like the teams who I think are the best teams in the league and see where they are in those numbers right now. And I'm like, yeah, it's a small sample size, but it kind of supports the way that I already felt about some of these teams. The Tampa Bay was a team, though, where I was kind of shocked. And I was like, okay, well, I thought about putting Tampa Bay in the top 5. And I was like, oh, God, like the underlying metrics do not like them. So it's definitely a team I'm keeping an eye on over the next couple of weeks to see like, okay, are they actually better than these metrics or what's going on?
Back last week. Right. So like that's also a key thing to remember. This is a team that theoretically it's all fair. Should be getting better.
I have the yellow flag up with Tampa Bay right now, where it's not a red flag. I'm not freaking out about the Bucs, especially because they're 3-1 and they've had a couple good comeback wins. But it's like when you win every game at the last minute, I'm kind of like, okay. And the Jets game and the yellow flag is up for me. I'm just keeping an eye on it. But my number 4 team is the Buffalo Bills. They are 6th in DVOA, 4th in EPA per play net, and then 5th in PFF's grading. I thought I'd have them higher on my list, but I did not enjoy what I saw against Miami and New Orleans for them, where if you're going to be an elite team and be the number one seed in the AFC and try to win a Super Bowl, I really want to see you stomp on these bad teams' throats. And they let Miami and New Orleans hang on like way longer than I'm comfortable with for an elite team against shitty competition.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's like, hey, we're sleepwalking, we have Josh Allen, we'll be fine. But like, I don't think the defense has been particularly great to start the season. Offensively, they're number one in DVOA and number one in EPA per play, but defensive EPA per play, they're 8th worst. And then they are 21st in defensive DVOA right now. And you've had 2 games against Miami and New Orleans to kind of boost those numbers, and they're still not great. So I think the Bills are still one of the best teams in the league. I think, sometimes you just have Josh Allen and you really will just be fine because you have Josh Allen. That's my working theory for my fantasy team this season, as now yet another one of my starters has been listed as questionable for Sunday. I sent you the list earlier. It's getting pretty rough for me. But I do have Josh Allen, and sometimes you just have Josh Allen, and that's kind of where the Bills are at right now. But I want to see them support Josh Allen more before I start believing in them as a contender.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with any of your concerns there. They are one of those teams that I do very much feel like has underperformed. I have some concerns roster-wise. Trey White as CB2, unless they're going to play a bunch of zone, I don't like that for them. If they're going to play man, you want to talk about that Miami game? If they have someone that has a fighting chance against Jalen Waddle in man to line up, I don't think that game's close. But there were like several third downs in a row where, what do you know, they get Trey White man-to-man on Jalen Waddle, and he just gets torched on a crossing route by him, and it's an easy first down. And my concern is that when it matters most in the playoffs, that is going to do them in. But even with all these concerns, they're 4-0. Like, I have them higher than you on my list.
Where do you have them?
I have them second. And what it really comes down to for me is the offensive line plus Josh Allen plus James Cook. Yeah, I'm willing to believe in that to kind of get me through 90% of games.
Yeah,
I think they'll be fine.
all I'm gonna say is, and I know this is my extremely biased opinion, but I'm just keeping an eye on them against the Patriots Sunday Night Football this weekend.
Yeah,
I'm keeping an eye on it because the defense has been bad and Drake May has been very good to start the season. So I think it's going to be an interesting game.
Especially if you guys don't turn the ball over.
Fingers crossed, man. We beat the Panthers by 30 this past weekend. And we'll probably be talking about the Panthers later in this podcast, but I don't remember the last time we beat a team by 30. I was just like, this is what it feels like to be a Lions fan every week. So my number 3 team was the Rams. We talked about them. Mm-hmm. Who is your number 3 team?
I have the Eagles. I mean, obviously, They are a very good football team. They are undefeated for some of a reason. Now, granted, why part of why I have them here as opposed to one or two is because the way each of those games has gone, they very well could have been 0-4, right? Like they could have lost any one or all of those games. Um, and I'm worried about. Look, we both knew that Saquon was not going to have the year that he had last year. Um, I am worried for them that he has struggled to have anything looking like efficiency this early in the year because I expected the fall off to kind of happen as the season went on. Um, I have not had a chance to really go through all 22 for them. I don't know how much of that is him and how much of that is just the offensive line maybe not being up to the par that it has been in the past. This is another team that has, quite frankly, a huge CB2 problem. Cooper DeJean, great nickel, right? That's not their CB2, that's their nickel. Uh, Teams have been cooking whoever is playing across from Quinion Mitchell. And that's going to continue to happen with any team that has a receiver that can win one-on-one.
Yeah.
So, like, those are my main concerns. But along with their just absolute refusal to throw the ball. They had zero passing yards in the second half last week.
I disagree with the premise that they're a good football team. I don't have them in my top 5. They're quickly turning into last year's Chiefs, where it's like we're winning every game by one score, and we're winning games in like just ridiculous fashion. We can't put anybody away. I look back at that Dallas game and the fact they only scored 24 against Dallas's defense, and I'm like, that is now way more concerning to me than it was at the time. Yeah. They can't win by multiple scores. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's they can't throw the ball or they won't throw the ball. I don't know what's going on there, but it's really weird to me.
Well, when they do throw the ball to A.J. Brown, it works.
Yeah.
Which is what happens when anyone throws the ball to A.J. Brown.
They're just not doing it. But yeah, 12th in DVOA, 10th in net EPA per play right now. So the underlying metrics are saying maybe they're not as good as their record says they are, even though they've beat the Rams, the Chiefs, and the Bucks so far this season. Like, it's been a pretty tough schedule. So I guess we'll see. But like, I just see this team, we're sitting here in a couple weeks or whatever it is, and it's like, oh, well, the Eagles are up like 17-13 in the fourth against the Giants, and the Giants are driving. And it's like, well, why? It's just, I don't know. I feel like you kind of lose an edge after you win a Super Bowl, and I worry that the Eagles are just not the killers that they have.
Yeah, no, I don't expect them to come out of the NFC this year, come playoff time. But I mean, the point of being good at football is to win football games. And I mean, that's what they've done, right? So it is as awful as the Super Bowl was for the Chiefs last year. They were in the Super Bowl. It's going to be honestly a hard sell to say that they weren't a top 5 football team last year, despite every other metric saying maybe not. Like, everyone else that went up against them lost.
Yeah.
So
my number 3 team was the LA Rams, who we talked about. You said your number 2 team was the Buffalo Bills,
correct.
who we touched on. My number 2 team is the Seattle Seahawks. So I've talked a lot about like analytics and analytics like undervaluing some teams we think are good. Seattle is the analytics darling of the year so far. Number 1 in DVOA, number 3 in net EPA per play, and number 2 in PFF grade. So all of the nerds and myself all love them. I think their game against the Saints, where they just absolutely put belt to ass for 4 quarters, I'm like, this is what I want to see out of good teams. And I know it's the Saints, but I'm like, they're at your place. They suck. Just beat the shit out of them. And they did that. And I know like Thursday Night Football against the Cardinals left a lot to be desired this past week, but it was a Thursday night. It's a division game. Those get really wonky. And they did pull it out. So my main concern with them is I just think they've been way too conservative offensively because Mike McDonald is such a defensive coach and he's like, the defense has this. And I felt like if they would have really put their foot on the gas on Thursday night with Sam Darnold, that they could have won that by more. But PFF fucking loves Sam Darnold.
Yeah, no, like
they have him as the number 3 quarterback right now.
Pretty much any analytic out there is just all over the Seahawks right now. And like, yeah, sure. Look, there's not a whole lot of evidence to combat that right now. However, I just want to pump the brakes a little bit because I also remember what happened to the offense that Clint Kubiak was calling last year after week 2. So I'm not going to get over my skis after 4 weeks. If this is what they look like in the next quarter at the halfway point, okay, now we can talk. But
to me, though, is the fact I think the defense is going to be particularly nasty this season.
What?
I think we have the same number 1 team, I would imagine.
I believe so.
But you can say who your number 1 is.
I have the Tennessee Titans. No.
Yeah, obviously.
The Detroit Lions, obviously. I mean, over the last 3 weeks, they have obviously been potentially the most explosive offense in the NFL. I mean, all of the weapons, right? And then, I think the concern was like, okay, was the defense gonna kind of be on par to be a Super Bowl level defense? Well, the Lions defense through the first 4 weeks of the season has allowed the lowest success rate for opposing offenses in the NFL. So how success rate works is that you, based on first, second, and third down, there are different metrics for what is a successful play with regards to like moving towards sustaining the drive, getting a first down, and moving towards scoring a touchdown. I personally think that it is a more reliable metric than EPA because EPA is more susceptible to being warped by like big explosive plays. This kind of shows you more how consistent a offense or defense is. However, I will give the same critique that I said for those other advanced metrics, is that through week 4, there's still it's still a small sample size. So, but the defense the last 3 weeks has been much improved from what I saw week one. And I don't know, this is just the team that I feel like has kind of put together the most complete team games from one week to the next.
Yeah, I feel like week one obviously was not a very good week for them.
No.
And there was some cause for concern there, but they seem like they've put that in the rear view.
Yeah.
I guess my only thing with them is I want to see them play better teams again, because I feel like after the Baltimore win, everybody was really excited. And then we've kind of seen what Baltimore is, especially defensively. Yeah. And so I'm not as impressed by that win anymore. And then your other wins are the Bears and the Browns, who could potentially come up in the next segment of this podcast. But yeah, I mean, number 2 in DVOA, number 1 in net EPA per play right now, number 3 in PFF's grading system. I just, over the last 3 weeks, I feel like they're the best team that I've watched. And I do wonder, with how Green Bay has played the last couple of weeks, if that week one game is going to be like the game we look back on and go, holy shit, like that was the biggest overreaction of week one. And how did that happen? And like, cause we have those every year. So, let's flip to the other side.
Yeah.
The 5 worst teams. We've talked about the best, now the worst, which is potentially more fun. I will lead us off with my number 5 team. It is the Las Vegas Raiders. Geno Smith has been pretty much an unmitigated disaster for the Raiders so far this season. He is currently on pace to throw 30 interceptions. He's thrown 7 through 4 games. I don't know what the play calling is. They're basically like, we're not interested in using Brock Bowers anymore, and we'd rather just throw to these wide receivers and use Gene T. And it's like, you have one of the most unique and best weapons in the entire NFL, and you're basically just like, we're fuck it. And Geno is just turning the ball over left and right. Not to mention, they just lost Colton Miller probably for the season, their best offensive lineman, and lost a game in which their rookie phenom running back had 155 total yards and 3 touchdowns because Geno Smith threw 3 interceptions and for less than 120 yards. Yeah. So bad Raiders.
Yeah. And to kind of tack onto that too, before Colton Miller got hurt, the offensive line was an unmitigated disaster itself. So, like, this is just they're a prime example for the adage of don't believe in teams that have bad offensive lines. There's a few other teams that we could also say that about, but there are some people that were really starting to feel the Raiders coming into the season, and that honestly, that offensive line just torpedoes any talks of that.
Yeah. Who was your number 5 team?
The New York Jets. They have some things that are working for them, but dear God, they cannot get out of their own way.
I liked Breece Hall's quote that he's like, a lot of other teams shoot themselves in the foot and then we come back and shoot ourselves in the head.
Yeah.
Like, it's very true. It's very true.
It's wild that like they could very well be 3-1 with the way those games played out. But this thing is, they're not a good team. And that is what those penalties are showing, right? Like, a good team is not committing that many penalties that frequently, right? It's not a one-off week thing. It's consistently. And they did that last year too, right? So like some of that is definitely personnel. Some of that is like it's gonna take time for the game to slow down for some of the younger guys, but like man, if you're a Jets fan, if you're Aaron Glenn, if you're anyone else on that coaching staff, it has to be so frustrating to be that close in that many games and just like not be able to get out of your own way.
Yeah, I didn't have the Jets on my list of the worst 5 teams, just purely based on the fact that, like you said, they have some things that are working for them.
Yeah.
And my next 4 teams, I someone's gonna have to tell me the thing that's working for my next 4 teams because I don't know what it is. Speaking of number 4, I have the Carolina Mad Cats. I just watched this team lose to my team by 30 on Sunday, and I do not have a single redeeming thing to say about them from that performance. They basically don't do anything well right now. Like in that game, they did not throw the ball well. They didn't run it well. They didn't protect Bryce Young well. They didn't tackle well. They didn't cover well. They didn't stop the run. Like they did absolutely nothing well.
As long as you don't run directly at Derek Brown, like there's nothing good that they're going to do.
The only thing that the Carolina Panthers do well is beat the Atlanta Falcons. And besides that, there's just nothing.
Well, I was going to say lose.
Yeah.
They're great at that.
Bryce Young, not good. I think I might be ready to call it.
He is fully regressed.
60% completion percentage, 31st in intended air yards per attempt. So like you're not throwing deep and you're only completing 60% of your passes.
Yeah.
And 27th in bad throw percentage so far this year. Yeah. I think I'm ready to call it and say that Bryce Young is a bust.
Yeah. I mean, I do want to see Jalen Coker back before I fully call it, because that is kind of the guy that he started to build some chemistry with last year. But man, that clock is ticking. They're just so bad, and like that they're not hitting on draft picks. Like they're not bringing in talent otherwise. Like it's just they have J.C. Horn and Derek Brown, and like those are like the 2 things, depending on how you feel about Tet, maybe 3, right? But like that's it. Like that's really all there is on this roster right now that you can be like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I'll tell you that Tet did not show up on Sunday.
Yeah.
For all the people that were saying maybe we should have drafted him and not Will Campbell, woof. Not a good one. Carolina Panthers make your list?
Yeah, they were number 3 for me. I will say one of my concerns about Tet was that he is a big body possession receiver, right? Contested catch guy, short arms. And against corners that have long arms, I just see that being a problem. And it seems like it was.
Yeah, Gonzalez just like Tet made one catch in the beginning of the game where the Panthers scored on their first drive, and then Gonzalez
was never again.
Basically just banished him to the shadow realm for the next 40 minutes. But who was your number 4 team?
That would be the Las Vegas Raiders.
Okay. So we touched on the Raiders. You said number 3, you have the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
I have the New Orleans Saints, number 3, which I am absolutely stunned that I have the New Orleans Saints this high on a list of who the best teams in the league or the worst teams in the league are.
So am I. It's making me question who is left on this list that is not on mine. So
yeah, I think it's going to be the next team, but 31st in DVOA, 30th in net EPA, 30th for PFF. The only redeeming thing I'll say about the New Orleans Saints is they've kind of hung in there this season for the most part. Like, they lost to Arizona by 7. They lost to San Francisco by 5. I thought they really hung in against Buffalo for a long time, like way longer than they should have. Obviously, they got absolutely schmeckledorf by the Seattle Seahawks, but some of those other games they hung in there, which is more than I can say about the next two teams. They have a negative 55-point differential, the worst in the NFC and the third worst in the NFL. You know, mostly from losing to Seattle by 31, but it's not good in New Orleans, and like just roster wise might be the least talented roster in the entire league, but like,
yeah,
they're hanging in there, man. They're just hanging in there.
No, I feel like at least offensively, like what Kellen Moore is trying to do, I don't hate. Like I think he's doing some good work there in terms of like the offensive architecture. We'll see what it looks like when there's actually talent. But the reality is he's being asked to make a meal out of stems and seeds.
Yeah.
Right? Like that, it's just that roster is so bad.
If anything, I'm more impressed with Kellen Moore after 4 weeks, because I'm like, God, this roster is so bad. The fact that they hung in against Buffalo for even a little while is like, yeah. You have this. The Saints are on your list, I take it.
Yeah, I have them number 2.
Okay. My number 2. We have the same number 1 team.
It has to be
guaranteed. My number 2 team is the Cincinnati Bengals, who I think that's the team that's probably not on your list.
Yeah.
I'll make the case for you. 30th in DVOA, 31st in net EPA per play, and 31st in PFF. Negative 58 point differential, even though they're 2-2. So
yeah,
not good. Without Burrow, this has been one of the very worst offenses in the league. They are 30th in EPA per play, 31st in pass EPA, and 29th in rush EPA. Defense has actually been better. So like the much maligned defense we all thought was going to be so horrible this season has actually been better than the offense. Not by a lot. They're 24th in EPA per play. I mean, Chase Brown, who people like when Joe Burrow went down, they're like, well, they're just going to have to get Browning my pants into stuff that he likes, and they're going to have to give the ball to Chase Brown. Chase Brown fucking sucks, Matt. He was being drafted in the second round of fantasy drafts, and he is currently RB 33 in half-point PPR. Yeah, I mean, we knew the defense was going to be horrible, but now with the offense basically being third worst in the league, like the only teams that are worse on offense than them are the Cleveland Browns, and then the team we're about to talk about as the number 1 worst team in the league.
Yeah, in fairness to Chase Brown, I would love to see their yards before contact.
It's not good.
I imagine it's pretty bad.
It's not good. This team does nothing well at this point, and seems to have completely quit since Joe Burrow was injured.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm sure they will be on my bottom 5 the next time we do this, but at this moment, at least with the 2 stars on the outside, that's more than I can say these other teams have.
But even with those guys, they've only scored 13 points in their last 2 games. So
yeah,
not good. The number one worst team in the NFL is, with a bullet, the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
Just last in everything.
Yep.
Everything. Every advanced metric, they're last. They're 32nd in DVOA, 32nd in net EPA per play. Their point differential is negative 69.
Nice.
Not nice. Negative 69. 11 more than Cincinnati, who is in second place in that category. Cam Ward came out after the game on Sunday and said, and I quote, "If I keep it a buck, we ass. We've already dropped a quarter of our games." And I hate to tell Cam Ward this, but they're going to drop many more than just a quarter of their games because Cam Ward is ass. Matt, he is completing 51.2% of his passes. He is on pace to be sacked 72 times this season. Their NFL record is 76, just so you guys know.
One of those might be influencing the other.
He has a QBR of 19.8.
Yeah.
So, no, he hasn't been good. And the offensive success rate for the Tennessee Titans is a paltry 35.63%.
Yeah.
Through 4 weeks. It is bad. And I want to ask you maybe the most asinine question that I will ask on this podcast, because it's only been 4 weeks. If we went back in time, knowing what we know now, would the Tennessee Titans still select Cam Ward as the number one overall pick in the NFL draft? He bad.
In this scenario, do I have to keep Brian Callahan?
I mean, if you're the Tennessee Titans, no. But I was just thinking about this today because I was listening to a podcast about the draft and I was walking my dog. And I was like, man, if the Tennessee Titans had it to do over again, I don't know that they would draft Cam Ward with how shitty he has been. And I know that the rest of the team sucks ass. I know it's not just him. But that's kind of the point, is this team is so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Why would you want to put a rookie quarterback in this situation? They're going to ruin him. You know?
Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and try to make excuses for Cam Ward because you have to play better. But also, how is he supposed to play better? You know? So I think with 2020 hindsight, we say, okay, yeah, build the roster and then get your quarterback in a future draft when you've already fired Brian Callahan, right?
Yeah.
Because where would you rank Cam Ward's play among problems on this team?
Yeah, it's
but
that's the thing though, is QBR is
because
supposed to...
1 and 2 are Brian Callahan and the offensive line. No, and you could probably get to some other things after that before you get to him.
The top 5 problems for the Tennessee Titans are: number 1, Brian Callahan; number 2, Brian Callahan; number 3, Brian Callahan; number 4, Brian Callahan; and number 5, Brian fucking Callahan. This guy sucks so bad.
Are you willing to finally admit that I was right to have him as the worst in that head coach ranking?
Gerard Mayo might equally have been as bad as Brian Callahan. That is a all-time competition, and all I can say is I'm glad that we fired our shit dick coach.
Yeah. God.
Yeah, but Brian, if you do the rankings right now, there's nobody close. Brian Callahan is horrible. Yeah. So, but I wonder if they had it to do over again, would they just take Abdul Carter and just be like, listen, we're just going to get the most talented dude in the draft and like we'll just keep building and get it ready to get a quarterback? And then I was also thinking about, would the Jags still make that trade up and take Travis Hunter? Because Travis Hunter has not been very impactful at all either way.
Yeah, he's kind of been milquetoast on both sides.
And I wonder if they would take Abdul Carter if they had it over, to do over again as well.
It's almost like all the people who said, hey, don't have him play both ways as a rookie might have had a point.
Yeah. You know who wouldn't do it over again if they could? My team. Will Campbell's been fucking awesome.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about it on the podcast, and we will. We will talk about Will Campbell on the podcast. He's been fucking amazing through 4 games. I love that man. But all right, America's favorite segment, Bolds and Scolds, week 4 of the NFL season. It is my week to go first with my bold. And my bold is rookie running backs. Speaking of good draft picks, so many rookies had their breakout this week. Actually, out of the top 13 fantasy backs for week 4, 5 of them were rookies. You had Ashton Jeanty, who was the overall RB1 in week 4 with 155 total yards and 3 touchdowns. Woody Marks, the rookie out of USC, RB6 this week, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. Omarion Hampton, RB7 this week, 165 yards and a touchdown. Judkins, RB11 this week, 115 yards and a touchdown against a good Lions defense. And then RJ Harvey was RB13 this week, 98 yards and a touchdown. Scadaboo has looked good for the Giants so far. Travion Henderson had his first career touchdown for the Patriots against the Carolina Panthers. This class was super hyped up as maybe being one of the best running back classes of all time. We talked about that on the podcast ahead of the draft, that they're like, hey, like this is the running back draft. And some of these guys have been pretty good this season, but just to watch all of them break out the same week and just put up fucking numbers was impressive. Like it was kind of the first true sign that like this class might live up to the hype.
Yeah, I mean, it was a week for those guys. There were. I have seen so many posts early this season about whether or not it was time for fantasy owners to give up on Omarion Hampton, which is absolutely insane. But no, it's good to see that those rookies are kind of getting a chance to make their statements and show what they can do, because especially as a running back, you only have so many years.
It could end up being kind of a crazy offensive rookie of the year race between Egbuka and then like all of these running backs that are starting to flourish. Like, you could have like Jeanty, Hampton, Harvey, Judkins, like all these guys I think are going to have really good seasons because they've looked great so far. But
yeah, I just think that Egbuka's kind of had a bit of a head start, so it might be hard for any of them to catch him, but
yeah,
it should be fun to watch.
Who is your bold for week 4?
It's kind of an odd one. I didn't really think I was gonna go this route, but it just feels right. Marvin Harrison Jr. He has famously not had a great start to his career and this season, and boy did that game against Seattle not start great for him. You could definitely see that the struggles and the expectations and the weight of following in his father's footsteps has been weighing on him. Um, and to his credit, he bounced back in that game. He had 6 catches for 66 yards and a touchdown, but those stats don't really tell the story. Yes, the Cardinals ended up losing that game, but god damn it, like they don't have a shot if he doesn't make multiple huge catches for them.
Yeah.
Like he was pivotal to them even having a chance in that game.
I'm glad you brought him up on this episode because I wanted to mention this to you. Last week we talked about Marvin Harrison and the Arizona Cardinals, and we were like, like, how much does that suck? They could have had Malik Neighbors or Joe Alt, and they picked Marvin Harrison Jr. And the fucking curse of Marvin Harrison Jr. is very real because he comes up with a bunch of clutch plays in that Thursday night game, and then Neighbors and Alt get injured in the same fucking game on Sunday.
Yeah.
Neighbors tears his ACL. He's out for the season. Alt has a high ankle sprain and is going to miss at least a couple of weeks. And I was like, He hurt us, man. This fucking Marvin Harrison voodoo taking those guys out on the shitty New York turf. Scold for week 4. Ravens defensive coordinator, Zach Orr. What the fuck is going on with the Baltimore Ravens? What the fuck is going on in Baltimore? They are dead last in points allowed with 33.3 per game this season. And they are second to last in yards allowed at 407 per game. Patrick Mahomes threw 4 touchdowns on Sunday, and the Chiefs scored 37 points. Matt, the last time Patrick Mahomes threw 4 touchdowns in a game was October 22nd of 2023. And the last time that the Chiefs scored 37 or more was September 24th of 2023. It's been 2 years since the Chiefs offense looked that good.
Yeah.
And they absolutely cooked Baltimore, just like everybody else has absolutely cooked Baltimore this season.
Yeah.
And I mean, some people might say like, hey, you know what? They played the Lions, who are the best offense in the league. They played Josh Allen, who is the best offensive player in the league. All well and good, but holy shit, man. Mahomes looked like, prime classic Mahomes, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
On Sunday, just fucking cooking them with Tyquan Thornton and Juju Smith-Schuster. 2 guys who weren't even good enough to make my team's roster. They're not good enough to be wide receivers on my team, who is bereft of wide receiver talent. And Mahomes was just fucking cooking with those guys. I talked a lot about EPA and DVOA in this episode. The Ravens defense, 29th in EPA against 24th in DVOA. And now Lamar might miss a couple weeks. This team might be absolutely and unequivocally fucked this season. And I picked them to win the goddamn Super Bowl. They're basically just this year's Bengals. Like last year's Bengals, that's them now. It's just like, your defense fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Have fun.
On top of that, Madubuike has now been ruled out for the year, right? So, I'm not going to go so far as to say as he is that important that like that is why the defense has been so bad, as opposed to it finishing the year as like one of the best defenses in the NFL last year. But to not even have the hope of, we're going to have that influx of talent that we've been missing. I don't know how they can fix this at this point. Honestly, like they are probably going to have to pull the plug on him sooner than later and hope that someone else has more talent in that department, because they can't keep doing what they're doing. They're just going to keep getting cooked. You know, um, and the thing that sucks for Ravens is that despite being in the position that they're in now, this division is incredibly winnable. Like,
well, this is the thing is like we should be freaking out about them being 1-3, but like the Browns and Bengals suck ass,
yeah,
and the only team ahead of them is Pittsburgh,
who of late has had a serious Baltimore Ravens problem.
Pittsburgh is not a good football team.
Yeah,
Did it say that?
Who plays their worst football against the Ravens?
Yeah, we should. I'm still fucking pissed that we lost to the Steelers and turned the ball over 5 times. I just think the bigger problem is like if Lamar Jackson misses time, I don't know how this team wins football games at all if the defense is this bad. Like they're playing Houston this weekend, and if they make Houston look good offensively, then that might just be it for the Ravens this season. Who is your scold for week 4?
I'm probably revisiting one, but it's the Green Bay hype train. Like everything that was being championed after week 2 has come crashing down and pretty much debunked. People were talking about Super Bowl favorites. People were calling this an elite defense. Adam, do elite defenses give up 40 points to an offense that is missing their wide receiver 1?
I'm going to say no.
And then the cherry on top of all this, what the ever-loving fuck was Jordan Love doing? Jordan Love damn near outright lost them the game in overtime because he was lollygagging around as if they had all the time in the world. Like
it was weird. They didn't seem to want to win the game. Like they were just like, yeah, we'll just tie. It's fine. But yeah, 40-40, not a great situation. I'm looking at their schedule right now. Like I think the bye week is probably coming at the perfect time for them, even though you typically like don't want to have one this early. It's probably a good week off for those guys to kind of get their shit together.
I'm sure it's gonna feel good now. If they sustain injuries after the bye week, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah, they come back with Cincinnati, Arizona, and then I think the Steelers. Yeah. Cincinnati, Arizona, Pittsburgh, and then Carolina. So we'll have to remember this when they're playing the Eagles after that stretch where they're getting super hyped up again because they're winning all these games. And we're like,
Yeah.
We'll remember. Final segment before we sign off, the Eliminator pool pick for week 5 of the NFL season. 19.3% of the pool was knocked out last week. The Chargers losing to the Giants was the most popular incorrect pick at 13%. We had the Bills. Made me like just a little bit nervous. Just a little bit with the Saints, but they do end up putting that away, so we advance. I think there's a few decent plays this week, but there is one game that is standing out to me and saying this has to be the game that we pick for this week, because I just said that one of these teams is one of the best 5 teams in the NFL and one is one of the worst 5 teams in the NFL. Matt, the Lions, the Motor City Kitties visit the Cincinnati Bengals and are 10.5 point favorites this weekend. I think now is the time we pull the trigger on the Lions.
Yeah, it's feels like a good time to do that.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. With the spread, in this game, how many points would I need to give you before you take the Bengals?
50? Like, I'm not saying the Lions are going to win by 50. I'm just saying, like, for me to bet on the Bengals, like they've lost 48-10 to the Vikings and 28-3 to the Broncos the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You would have to give me all of the points. There's a couple other like decent plays. I would not play the Bills against the Patriots in your eliminator pool this week.
Well, it violates one of our rules anyways.
Yeah, division game.
Colts
at home.
Cardinals Titans is a maybe, but I just don't love the Cardinals.
This is the thing, is like, do you 100% trust in your soul the Cardinals are going to beat the Titans this weekend?
No, that's, but like, it's half of the rule, right? Pick against the worst team. But like, if anybody was going to give the Titans their first win. But like, if I'm picking the Cardinals, it has to be later in the year.
Yeah. Once we've, like, this is the number one rule, is to use all of the good teams first, because, and like, people will always be like, oh, I'm going to get cute and I'm like going to save the Lions for later. There is no later when you get cute. So this is why I'm like, don't be cute. And you look at the teams that we've picked so far this season, and it's like Buffalo and Baltimore, when we thought they were going to be good. Somehow we won that. Who else did we pick? It's all good teams.
Did we take Broncos?
We have taken, so we took Broncos week 1. We took Denver and Baltimore and Tampa Bay and Buffalo and now Detroit. Like, we're going to use all the good teams first, and then we will consider picking the Cardinals, because I just, as much as I love Kyler personally, I do not trust him with my eliminator pool life. But that is it for now. As always, Foul Dot can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Overcast, anywhere you get your podcast. And you can now watch the podcast on YouTube. Go check us out, Fouled Out Sports on YouTube. Like and subscribe to the channel. Help us grow that. As always, appreciate you guys listening and watching. You can also find our shorts on YouTube. No more TikTok, just on the YouTubes. Go and check those out, and then you can reach out to us, fouledoutsports@gmail.com. Matt, the Sunday 1 o'clock slate of games this weekend is ass. It is ass, except for the fact that the Broncos and Eagles play at 1 o'clock. So I would encourage you all to watch that. Maybe Texans-Ravens will be good if Lamar plays. The later window, Buccaneers-Seahawks is pretty good, but like, there's just a lot of like really ass games this weekend, man. Like Lions-Bengals.
It's almost like they blew their load in week 1.
I know. Like, well, I think they really thought they were cooking with Lions-Bengals when they set it up, and now not so good. Commanders and Chargers could be fun, but I don't know. Do your best to enjoy your football this weekend. Like 3/4 of my fantasy team is going on IR, so I don't know how much I'm going to enjoy it, but Matt and I will be back on Thursday next week to talk about week 5 and start looking forward to week 6. Until then, my friend, I will see you later.
Yep. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
Mom.